You're watching Hamilton Ironmen TV. Ironmen TV is proudly presented by Boston Pizza Main Street West in Hamilton.
Welcome inside Ironmen ChalkTalk, everyone. I'm your host, Marshall Ferguson, joined today by co-defensive coordinator for the Hamilton Ironmen senior varsity squad, Scott Martin. Scott's going to go through the concept today of cut coverage on the defensive side of the ball.
Alright, so cut coverage is a basic cover 3 defense. The reason we play that is we want to defend deep. As opposed to a cover 2 where we're keeping the middle open, we now have 3 defenders high, playing safe in the back end, and we have 5 low. So I'm going to quickly draw up what it looks like on the weak side here. So we have 32 offense here with 3 receivers to the strong side, 2 to the weak, and 1 back. We're running a base 43 defense with our Sam, Mac, and Will, and then our ends tackle and nose. Our secondary sitting in the back where they will. We normally want them about 5 to 7 yards and to play with it, so we don't give away the look. So the basic concept here is that our free safety, as with just about every cover 3, is going to be our deep middle defender. So he's looking quarterback, and he's really defending hash to hash here. Now on the weak side, as it's cut coverage, means corner cut is our low defender. So he's going to be playing up high, while our half is going to sit back and get the deep third to this side of the field. Same thing vice versa on the other side, our half's going to be high, our corner's low. A couple keys we need here is with our half being high, now our number 2 receiver has a free release. So one key we need is to get our Will out. His eventual zone is going to be a hook to curl zone. So he's going to work to hook, get to the back, and then come up to the curl, which will be right around here. What we want him to do is to reroute this receiver. Instead of giving that receiver a free release upfield, we want him to get physical, get hands-on, slow him down any way we can. It should change the chemistry of the quarterback and that receiver. Another major key here is with the half defending from the hash all the way to the sideline. He's got a lot of room to cover. If 2 goes vert and 1 goes vert, he's got to split him. He's got to be able to stay in his back pedal, cover both of them, and stay deep the whole time. One major thing we need done with this defense is to make sure a corner doesn't give a free release to this number 1 receiver. As you can even see from this drawing, and especially on the field, a Canadian-sized field, it's a huge field. So if we give that 1 receiver a free release upfield here, that half's got a lot of room to cover. So it's vital in this defense that our cornerback, as he comes up to his flat coverage, gets hands on this receiver, doesn't let a free release, and if the receiver tries to get outside, he's got to jam him, ride him out to the sideline, slow him down to give our half time to get back and read 2 to 1. Now as the corner does this, we don't want him to turn his head, because if he's jamming and turns his head, and say here, so we get a vertical by 1 and an out by number 2, if he turns his head, all of a sudden this guy's open because he doesn't see him coming. So it's important that that corner get a good jam, but at the same time maintain inside his eyes inside while he's doing this. Another important with cover 3, a zone technique, is now our DBs are allowed to play the run, because as these receivers are running the routes, their eyes are glued into the backfield, whereas opposed to man coverage, they have to keep their eyes on the receiver. So not only does it allow our backers to really focus in on the run and our ends to be free in the run, it allows our secondary to also add into the run. So it's a very safe defense. We've got all our zones covered between a corner, half, and Will. Now, one more thing. Say that number 3 receiver strong comes over weak. Our adjustment to this, we don't have to change or move anybody. It just means our Mac, instead of opening strong, will now open weak. And try and find 3, try to find that hole. As our 5 underneath defenders, we work as a string. So we've got our corner, our Will, our Mike, our Sam, and our corner on this side. They have to work as a string and go back and forth so that as a receiver crosses, if he crosses all the way across here, you're not chasing him, you go into the edge of your zone, pass him off to the next defender, and keep going along the field like that. So that's the basics of a pretty basic cover 3 called cut coverage, and it's a central play for any football defense.
So that is cut coverage broken down for you by Scott Martin, co-defensive coordinator of the Hamilton Ironmen senior varsity squad. We're going to head out to the field right now with a couple of McMaster Marauders that are in-house and see how it's used on the field.
So in our basic cut coverage, we're looking at our half, who's played by Scott Martin. I'll be playing corner, and we have our 2 receivers here. So the key point for a cut coverage corner is he's focusing on this number 1. Okay, he knows the half is going into a deep third coverage, so he has to absolutely reroute this number 1. Because then if he does not, then he will spread out the half, and this is what it would look like if the corner does not reroute 1. So we're going to get these 2 receivers to both run flies, and you'll see how spread out this half is if the corner just does not touch number 1. Okay, so go half speed here. So the corner's playing cut, doesn't touch him. And as you can see, the half now has two guys to deal with at the same depth. When they're at the same depth, it's too hard for that half to get over to 2, over to 1. So the absolute key point in this cut coverage is that corner reroutes number 1, preferably inside to the halfback. So we're going to show the same routes, but now as a corner, I'm going to reroute, push that receiver inside, and then we'll see how much easier it is for that half to be able to cover both. So if we get both our receivers to run flies again, I'm going to reroute, push in, and sit back. And there you go. That's why it's so much easier and so apparent that that corner pushes that receiver inside to the half. Now, the situation that Scott Martin explained on film, where if that receiver does an outside release, he always has to maintain eyes inside. So from the slot to that near back. If that slot runs an out and that receiver goes outside, his eyes must be inside so that he can make a play on the out. Okay? And as this is happening, the half, who is also reading slot to near back, will see that number 2 goes out. If number 2 is out, he is not a deep threat anymore. So now that half can start working his way to 1. And that's how this will all fold. So we'll get the receiver to get an outside release. I'll jam him outside with eyes inside, being able to make the play on the out. And Scott, as the halfback, will come over top. So the receiver will come and release. He'll release outside. Eyes are inside. Come off and make a play. And Scott's a perfect spot over there. The classic cut coverage beater would be a corner by the slot and a hook by the receiver, because essentially what you're doing is you're going to put the corner in a bind. If the corner plays the hook, then the halfback's going to have a hard time making it to a corner that's over top. So essentially what we have to do in that cut coverage beater is have the corner be able to help out both. So if we have a receiver run a 5-yard hook and our other receiver run a corner, I'll show you how you split both of them and are able to make a play on either, okay? So receivers start running. In the cut coverage, you're going to sit and hold. So now that this happens, the corner's got to be able to play both, reading the eyes of the quarterback. He's got to either make it a high throw to the corner so that the half can make a play, or he's got to be able to come down and hopefully pick off or make a good play on this hook.
Here's a perfect example of what Coach Daly is talking about. Zach Ishmael, defensive back from McMaster at the top of the screen, drives on the pass while in cut coverage, picking off the ball and changing the momentum of the game. If you've enjoyed Ironmen Chalk Talk, please follow the Hamilton Ironmen on Twitter at Hamilton Ironmen. Also, there's a new radio show coming out on CFMU 93.3 airing from Hamilton. It's called OVFL Live, and it'll be recapping the best the OVFL has to offer, as well as giving weekend recaps of all OVFL action. The Hamilton Ironmen begin their OVFL season on Sunday, May 25th, this coming weekend, when the junior varsity team will kick off at 1 p.m. against the Sioux Sabercats, followed by the varsity team at 4 p.m. Both games are at Ron Joyce Stadium at McMaster.